Well, it's a very warm welcome and thank you for joining us on this independent off-tube studio commentary. The game at Goodison Park is just about to get underway. Everton in 19th place taking on Brentford in 9th place. 16 points the difference between these two sides, and Brentford actually have 2 games in hand over their opponents this afternoon as well. So really, real gulf in terms of how the season has gone for these two sides. And you consider that Brentford are a second season team in the Premier League. Everton, after their sort of relegation flirtation last season, you would have thought they would have kicked on, but things didn't start well for them this season. Frank Lampard departing just after the World Cup break. And Everton now trying to rebuild under Sean Dyche. They have had some success, a couple of big wins, but also a couple of disappointing results as well. They're up against the Brentford side, who are unbeaten in 12. It's myself, Paul Szczerbakowicz, and Will Maxwell taking you through the action. Will, this potentially could be a difficult one for Everton this afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, it really could be a difficult one for both these sides. It's a game that I'm really struggling to call, if I'm perfectly honest. Everton, definitely, of the two sides, are in the greater need of the victory, particularly after Bournemouth had a vitally important 3 points over Liverpool in the early kick-off. They need a good start today if they are going to get anything from this game. But Brentford, they're in a great run of form. They're looking really good as an attacking prospect, and they're also a very difficult side to break down. But if they can start quickly, Everton, maybe get a few shots on target, even an early goal, and then things could really look bright for them.
Well, here they go, Everton straight away on the attack. Doucoure picking the ball up at the edge of the area. He lays it off for McNeil. McNeil with the strike, and Everton take the lead on 35 seconds. What a start that is for Sean Dyche's side. Just a quick move forward, and before you know it, the ball broke to Abdoulaye Doucoure at the edge of the area. He then tees up McNeil, saw a bit of space, and he smashes it with his left foot past David Raya. Less than 40 seconds on the clock. Everton lead 1-0.
Oh, I said that they might need an early goal. Maybe I should go for the lotto numbers next. It was a fantastic start from Everton, breaking down the right-hand side. It's a good ball over the top, and it's well won in the air, I believe, by Demari Gray to help make things difficult in the Brentford back line. They don't defend well. It falls to Doucoure in a good amount of space, and he initially runs over the ball, bides his time, sends it off to McNeil, and he's hit that sweetly far into the left-hand corner. Raya can't get over in time, and that is the perfect start for the Toffees.
It is. I mean, it's a long ball play to the edge of the area. Not the greatest header away by Ben Mee. Just pretty much left it for an opposition player. Doucoure has the presence of mind just to look around, just to see where everything is. And then it's a strike coming in from McNeil. And the ball's in the back of the net. A really good start this for Everton. We can see there Raya diving at full stretch, but he just couldn't get anywhere near that one.
No, he really struggled to get over to that left-hand side. I think he might have been put off by, I think it was Aaron Hickey trying to get the block in. Maybe his view is somewhat blocked in that regards. But take nothing away from the finish, though. It's a brilliant finish from McNeil, and Everton come forward again.
Well, they do. Straight away from the kickoff, Everton win the ball back. It's a cross coming in from the left-hand side. It's Godfrey's ball in, and it sails out for a goal kick. So now we can finally remind you of the two teams for this game. Despite the fact Everton already have an early lead, it is Jordan Pickford in goal, a back four of Seamus Coleman, Michael Keane, James Tarkowski and Ben Godfrey. The three in midfield are Abdoulaye Doucoure, Idrissa Gueye and Amadou Onana, with Alex Iwobi, Dwight McNeil and Demari Gray as the attacking three for Brentford. It is David Raya in goal, back four of Aaron Hickey, Ethan Pinnock, Ben Mee and Rico Henry. The three in midfield are Matthias Jensen, Christian Norgard and Vitaly Janelt, with Brian Mbumo, Mikkel Damsgaard and Ivan Toney as the three up front. Long clearance there from David Raya, held up by Ivan Toney in midfield, but the pass to Matthias Jensen is blocked off. Brentford fighting to win this back in midfield. It is Norgard over towards the left-hand side. The visitors desperate to try and make some sort of statement on this game after conceding so early, but they're robbed of it in midfield, and it's with James Tarkowski, former Brentford man, going back towards Jordan Pickford. Long clearance over the top from him. And it's a ball up towards the halfway line, taken down by Idrissa Gueye. Amadou Onana then trying to get it through to Doucoure. That's a bit of a lunge from him there, and that will be a free kick. We're getting word that there is potentially a goal at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, but also a VAR review. Yeah,
it was Richarlison that put the ball into the back of the net. Is currently being looked at by VAR and the referee Craig Pawson. Still no update in regards to if the goal is going to stand, but it could be a first Tottenham goal for Richarlison, after him being in the news for rather complaining of his lack of minutes and the season that he's had, it was almost written in the stars for him to have an effect in this game somewhat.
Yes, I think that he needed to make a statement really today on the pitch after all the things he's been saying off it, as Tarkowski very cleverly, very calmly, they're dropping a shoulder, getting the ball away from the on-rushing Damsgaard. A long ball down the left-hand side now for McNeil, just a bit too long for him. Throw on to Brentford. Hickey going back towards David Raya. As well as this game, as I mentioned, Leeds against Brighton, Leicester against Chelsea, Spurs against Nottingham Forest. All those games are available on our service. In the earlier game, Bournemouth beating Liverpool by a 1-0. We still have Palace against Manchester City to come at 5:30 this evening. It's out for a throw to Everton down the left-hand side, but it's such a perfect start for them in this game. To score inside the first minute just settles the nerves, not only of the players but of the fans as well. Goodison is a great place to play when things are going well, but when things are going badly, the home fans will let you know about it very quickly.
Yes, they really will. Goodison Park is a stadium where the fans can always be heard in regards to their thoughts and their feelings on how the game is going. They'll be happy with how this game has started for them, though. They're looking bright coming forward. Although in Everton, obviously, they've got that early goal. They're forcing Brentford back. And, 5 minutes into the game, Brentford really haven't offered a great deal going forward. No,
but they barely had any possession over the halfway line, really. Just to confirm, that early goal for Spurs has been chalked off for offside, so it is still goalless at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So our goal here in the game at Goodison Park is the only goal in the 3 o'clock Premier League kickoffs. An offside here against Everton at the edge of the Brentford penalty area, and it's David Raya restarting play here. David Raya almost looks as though Brentford are resigned to losing him in the summer. He's got 1 year left on his contract after the end of this season, and there's been at least 2 attempts now by the club for him to sign a new one, and he's turned both of those down. One last summer and one in January as well. So it looks as though Raya may be looking to try and up his game, get to an even club and even higher in the league by the end of this season. Wait to see what happens with that, but for the time being, Everton are in possession here with Alex Iwobi at the edge of the area. Gets the ball in towards Doucoure. He has to go back towards Idrissa Gueye, heading towards the penalty area. Square now to Doucoure again. Brentford are surrounding their own penalty area, so Everton forced to go back towards the halfway line. Michael Keane over towards Seamus Coleman. He tries a diagonal ball which is under hit, and Mbeumo then tries to control that, and in doing so he actually clatters into an Everton man in the form of Ben Godfrey. So the Toffees now win a free kick in a decent position.
Yeah, clever play there by Godfrey. The ball spooned off of the touch of Mbeumo, so really nasty tackle there by Mbeumo. Actually, it's a high boot, and his boot actually rakes down the face of Ben Godfrey. And, well, fairness to the Everton man, he hasn't tried to speak to the referee and trying to get a booking or so, but the contact that's made to the face, it could argue that it's dangerous play, and maybe Mbeumo's a little bit fortunate to get away without a card.
I mean, he apologised for it straight away there, but I think that the issue with him there was that he genuinely didn't see Godfrey until it was almost too late. But absolutely, the boot was certainly raised very high. Free kick to Everton, and it's clipped into the box by McNeil, headed across the 6-yard box by Tarkowski. It's still bouncing in there before it takes a header from Ivan Toney inside his own 6-yard box, just to get that ball back to David Raya. It's always a bad sign for a defence if they let the ball bounce a couple of times inside the box after a ball has been crossed in. And it took Ivan Toney's header just to make sure it did get back towards David Raya. He then rolls it out to Ben Mee, who tries a long ball over the top. It's a good ball as well. Toney tries to take that one down, and there was a teammate rushing on as well. It looked like it was Janelt who was pushing up there with him, but in the end Tarkowski is able to get the clearance in. Sean Dyche just trying to get some further instructions out to his players. To say it's been a bit of a stop-start time for Sean Dyche since he's taken over, beating Arsenal in their first game, then losing to Liverpool, then beating Leeds, and it's been 2 defeats and a draw for Everton since then. But here comes McNeil now, over towards the left-hand side for Ben Godfrey. Back to McNeil, 3 or 4 players ahead of him, just at the edge of the area, going back towards Onana. Square now to Tarkowski, leaves it here for Michael Keane. Everton with numbers forward here, slowly creeping towards the Brentford penalty area. Coleman now on the right-hand side, back to Keane. More space here for Seamus Coleman as he gets the ball back. His cross is taken down there by Demari Gray. Hardly seen Demari Gray in the early stages of this game. It's Damsgaard who dispossessed him, and then it's cleared by Rico Henry up towards the halfway line where Michael Keane has missed it. Ivan Toney tries to take it down and get away from Tarkowski, runs straight into Tarkowski and wins his side a throw, which he takes himself. Gets away from Onana, gets brought down by Onana. That will be a free kick to Brentford. The Belgians clearly not impressed with that decision, but from Brentford's point of view, this is what they need to do, actually get on the ball and try and get a challenge off Everton, actually try and keep some possession.
Yeah, they need to start taking the game to the Toffees and start frustrating them and force them further and further back. It's clever play there by Ivan Toney to hold on to possession, utilising his strength. Yes, he's holding off Onana with a little bit of a high arm, but not enough really for a free kick to be, well, for a card really to be shown towards Ivan Toney. I think it is a foul by Amadou Onana in the end. It is now a promising position to get the ball into the area.
It is. It's with Brian Mbeumo on the left-hand side. Needs to put a fair amount of welly into this one if he's going to get it close towards the penalty area. Everton have set up outside the box with their offside line. And it's Mbeumo looking to try and guide that towards the edge of the penalty area. It's taken down by Toney. It's Pinnock now. Back over towards Toney on the right-hand side. His cross gets a big deflection of Godfrey. It takes a bounce and Godfrey chases that one. But in actual fact, it sails out for a corner. So Brentford trying to do something a little bit clever there with the free kick. It didn't quite pay off in terms of getting a shot away on goal, but they have won a corner.
They have won a corner, and it's, I think, the first corner of the game for either side. It's going to be an interesting battle from set pieces. Both these sides have a few big players, but they're not. Neither side are really just a overall big team. So it'll be interesting to see who's going to win these individual battles.
Well, everyone seems to have set up over at the far post, so it's a case of, I suppose, Everton following where the big men from Brentford have gone to try and negate that. It's a short ball from Mbeumo towards the edge of the area, played square across the edge of the box. It's with Rico Henry now, who tries to ping a ball back into the penalty area. He has overhit that by some way, Rico Henry. The idea was good, but as I say, if you're going to be so intricate from a corner kick, you need to be a little bit more precise with your passing. Yeah,
not a good ball at all there by Rico Henry. They tried to do a training ground move. It doesn't pay off. He should just try to get the ball into the area earlier than they did, as we see on our Off-Tube Studio pictures. Gareth Southgate watching on in the stands, looking at a few potential candidates to call up to the England squad. Of course, Ivan Toney probably the main name there for the English manager. Also to let you know, there is another goal in the Premier League to tell you about. Chelsea have taken the lead away from home against Leicester, and it's the former Foxes man, Ben Chilwell, that's got the goal.
Yeah, Chilwell with the goal there at the King Power Stadium. So a couple of goals now in the Premier League. The 1-0 lead for Everton here. And Chelsea 1 up away at Leicester. Here come Brentford now down the right-hand side with Hickey. Gets the ball into Mbeumo. But then Everton win it back. And that's very clever play there from Demari Gray. Trying to run that ball into some space himself. But it just overplays it slightly. And there is Ethan Pinnock going back towards David Raya. Brentford now in possession at the edge of their own penalty area. Matthias Jensen back to his goalkeeper. 11 minutes gone. Unofficial independent off-tube studio commentary. Everton 1, Brentford 0. Brentford just in danger of getting a little bit bogged down at the edge of their own penalty area. A couple of passes in between Raya and Pinnock. Everton have pushed men forward in the meantime. Tarkowski's one of them. He heads that back towards Demari Gray at the edge of the area. It's back with Dwight McNeil on the left-hand side. Godfrey now back to Tarkowski. Square to Michael Keane. Brentford trying to keep an offside round 30 yards out from goal as Coleman tries the ball over the top. Takes a bit of a deflection. Iwobi tries to head that ball on, but it will be with Rico Henry. Goes back to Ben Mee. That's not a good ball out from Ben Mee. And Brentford just forced to try and hold on to the ball now inside their own half, but they've lost it here, and a chance now for Idrissa Gueye. He plays the ball in towards Demari Gray at the edge of the area. He then finds McNeil. McNeil under pressure, trying to step away from Aaron Hickey, puts a cross in, and that does deflect out for a corner.
Yeah, corner kick here now for the Toffees. It was good play by McNeil down that left-hand side, but it was being very well held up by Aaron Hickey. Wasn't really allowing any clear opportunity for a ball to be put into the area, and it was a comfortable enough block. But it now allows the bigger boys of likes of Tarkowski and Keane to get into the area to make themselves a nuisance, as well as Godfrey as well. Promising position here, though, for the Toffees to get a decent delivery in.
There's plenty of big men here up for Everton, although not many of them are inside the 6-yard box right now. They're all going to start flooding in just as this ball is whipped in. In the meantime, I think the referee, Simon Hooper, has heard the appeals there from the travelling Brentford fans in that corner of the ground to say that Demari Gray's positioning of that ball was nowhere near the quadrant. I mean, players can get away with it being right on the tip, but that was a little bit too much from Demari Gray initially. Now he is going to be able to take this corner kick. He lifts it towards the near post, headed away by Ben Mee, back into midfield and out for a throw to Everton down the left-hand side. McNeil back to Gray. Still 3 or 4 Everton players waiting at the edge of the area. And then Demari Gray skips away from Hickey, does put a cross in. It's Pinnock underneath it this time. Toney then chested down for Jensen, who tried to put a bit of distance on the clearance, but he's been dispossessed almost straight away. And Brentford are a little bit guilty there of just dawdling with it inside their own half. Everton win it back here down the right-hand side with Iwobi. puts a crossing into the box, which is headed away by Hickey. Taken down by Godfrey, who then catches his man. That's going to be a free kick to Brentford. Christian Norgard, the Bees captain, not making too much of a song and dance about that. Not really sure why Sean Dyche is complaining. I mean, the referee hasn't booked his defender there, but it clearly was a foul.
Yeah, it was a clear free kick there by Ben Godfrey. He's come in very hard on a Norgard, I should say. It was just a tad late to the party. He was not too far away from getting a touch onto the ball, but I think it's more the momentum and the force that he comes in with the tackle. That's why the free kick's been awarded. But in terms of free kicks, now Everton have got one in a position inside the Brentford half.
Yeah, so Sean Dyche looking very happy so far, although you can't really tell. As I say, he looks happy. He's not as angry as normal, Sean Dyche. I suppose that's how we can tell that he must be fairly pleased with how this game has started so far. Always in deep conversation there with his assistants, Ian Wone and Steve Stone. And the three of them, I'm sure, will be very, very pleased with how Everton have started in this game. Still no work, really, for Jordan Pickford. In fact, barely anything happening inside his half. And virtually nothing inside his penalty area. But Everton now with a free kick on the right-hand side. A chance to get this ball into the Brentford penalty area. It's Demari Gray's ball in, and Raya's come a long way and got nowhere near it. And if Michael Keane could have just got a little bit more direction on that header, then all of a sudden Everton could have find themselves 2 up. Yeah,
really could have done. It was a decent ball into the area. Keane rising highest. And I'm not sure what he's actually trying to do there, Keane, because he's not trying to direct his effort towards goal. It's not really a shot. I'm not sure he's trying to head it back across the face for someone to maybe get a touch onto it. But if he goes for goal, surely that ends up in the back of the net, because Raya is in no man's land.
Yeah, Raya was late arriving for that one. It's out for a throw to Brentford now down the left-hand side, taken by Matthias Jensen. Jensen looking for options left and right, going back towards his own penalty area. As Everton press, Raya doesn't fancy a long clearance, just goes back to Ben Mee, and then Mee puts a long ball over the top, which is headed down by Michael Keane. Everton are first to every ball so far in this game. Brentford really do need to wake up here as Rico Henry going back towards Ben Mee, square now to Ethan Pinnock. Brentford trying to play out from the back, but Everton really have started well, and they're making it difficult for the Bees as well. Although Brentford are making it easy for Everton with the long balls that are just easy for Tarkowski or Keane to deal with. This time Jensen tries a ball down the right-hand side, which is a good ball as well to Mbeumo, trying to get away from Godfrey. Puts one in on the deck, and that one's cleared by Tarkowski. Miscontrolled there by Aaron Hickey. And he's won his side a free kick there, as the Everton fans in that corner of the ground are unimpressed with Simon Hooper there. I'm not sure that they have too much of a case. It did seem to me as though Hickey was trying to turn away. He's McNeil's held on to him there briefly, but it's probably not enough to bring Hickey down in the way that he fell down.
Yeah, I mean, I do still think it's a foul. I don't think it's a case he's been pulled down. I think it's more McNeil's gone in, and because it looks like it's a bit of a wet day at Goodison at the moment, he just stumbles and slips into Hickey, and he just gets bundles over in that regard. It's clumsy more than malicious, but I think it is still a free kick.
Well, Brentford will certainly not complain about that at all. They've got a good opportunity here now to try and get the ball into the box. They've had very few opportunities to do that so far. Just the one corner kick and the one free kick before that. We've had nearly 18 minutes now here at Goodison Park. And it's going to be the right foot of Jensen to whip this one in towards the back post. It's headed away by Godfrey, and Coleman then trying to keep that ball in play, and he's managed it really well, Seamus Coleman. Not only has he avoided giving away another corner kick, he's then run the ball into Christian Norgard and won Everton the throw, and they've completely dealt with that set piece from start to finish.
Yeah, he did well to recover that, Seamus Coleman, because his initial attempt to try and run the ball out didn't do well, was dispossessed by Norgard, but he then made things awkward for the Dane to actually get the ball out of his feet. In the end, it just squirms off his boot to go out for a throw-in. It's good defending there by the Everton captain.
Brentford now trying to win the ball back here in midfield, but Doucoure heads it forward. And still bouncing around in midfield. It's headed forward now by Janelt. Mbeumo can't win the header there against Tarkowski. Onana then heads it on, taken down by Doucoure. Down the right-hand side, Iwobi plays it first time to Gray, who then backheels it to Iwobi. Iwobi, I think, expected Gray to follow that one down the right-hand side. He doesn't do, and then Rico Henry chasing this one all the way to the line. Makes sure that he can at least avoid giving away the corner kick. I think he's trying to say there might have been a shoulder barge, so I don't think there was ever going to be enough to say that was going to be for a free kick. But certainly Everton finding space here down the right-hand side. It's going to be with Seamus Coleman now. Hits the ball into Iwobi. Back to Coleman, puts a cross in which flies right past everyone inside the penalty area, and then Hickey just making sure he doesn't get a touch on that, so we can go out for a throw to Brentford. But that early goal really has set the tone for this match, because it does feel as though Everton are really trying to stamp their authority down on this game, and Brentford are really struggling to live with that.
Yeah, they really are. Whenever Everton are coming forward, they're looking dangerous, particularly down each wing. They're causing issues for the likes of Hickey and Henry at this moment in time, and they've given the ball away cheaply here, Brentford.
Well, they have, and Doucoure now with a chance to get it to Iwobi. Iwobi's ball across. Raya make the save. It's down. Oh, it should be 2-0. What a chance that is for Everton. An unexpectedly easy ball spilled by David Raya. Then Amadou Onana probably wasn't expecting that ball to even reach him, and he's missed from just a few yards. Raya, that's not a good save from Raya. But Onana, well, that's not a good finish from Onana either.
Yeah, so really poor finish in the end by the Belgian Amadou Onana. But like you mentioned, I don't think he's expecting the ball to come out to him. It's poor goalkeeping by David Raya just to punch it out to Onana. And he's trying to react quickly to just hammer it back towards goal, but doesn't set himself and sends his effort over the bar. Big miss that for Everton, and who knows how costly that could be in the shape of this game and the season.
Well, the ball over the top now for Mbeumo, and I tell you what, if that was only a yard or two shorter, then Mbeumo would have got there ahead of Pickford, and all of a sudden the Cameroon international would have been one-on-one against Jordan Pickford, but it does get through to the Everton keeper. He then bowls it out to Michael Keane, who plays a long ball over the top, looking for Demari Gray, but just too much of Ben Mee in between Gray and the ball, and that one will go through towards David Raya. As I say, you can't really blame Raya for the goal, but certainly from that cross from the right-hand side, it was a one-handed save, but it wasn't even a strong one-handed save. He just sort of palmed it out a couple of yards in front of him. In the meantime, Brentford have pushed forward down the left here as Mbeumo putting pressure on Michael Keane. And Keane just able to keep his head, make sure he can put it out for a throw rather than a corner. And Brentford able to send a couple of players further forward. They can use long throws very tactically here, the Bees. They have got a couple of long throw specialists. Christopher Ayer is their main long throw specialist, although he's been out injured for a while. Matthias Jensen is almost as good, I'd say, in terms of how he can launch it long, although they do sometimes use him as a bit of deception here in terms of trying to make it seem as though it's going to be a long throw. Now the Everton fans behind Jensen starting to lose their patience here as to how long it's taking him to take this throw. But the Bees number 8 now does finally launch it long into the box. Doesn't actually get enough distance on it in the end after all of that. It's a header away by Idrissa Gueye. It's kept in play by Iwobi. As it's not kept in play by Iwobi. It's out for a Brentford corner down the left. Yeah,
it's almost good defending by Alex Iwobi, but the ball just would not sit for the Everton man, and in the end it will be a corner kick for Brentford. Seeing another replay of that chance for Amadou Onana. He puts it quite comfortably wide in the end. He's got to be hitting the target for me from that range. Just also let you know there is another goal to tell you about. Tottenham have now taken the lead against Nottingham Forest. Harry Kane has got the goal.
Yeah, and that one does stand, so Spurs do lead against Nottingham Forest there. And it is going to be a corner kick to Brentford. Referee, well, he checked an Everton corner earlier to make sure the ball was at least touching the quadrant there in the corner, and he does the same here to make sure that the Brentford ball is doing the same thing. It is going to be Mbeumo and Jensen, one of them to whip it in, and it's going to be an in-swinger from Jensen. That one's heading towards goal, and it needed a header away. It's the edge of the 6-yard box, picked up here by Hickey on the right-hand side. He runs into Demari Gray, and I'll make sure I say it in that order because it is Hickey running into Demari Gray, even though the Scotland international then hits the deck. He's definitely trying to get a decision there when there was never any danger of that being a penalty for my money, although Gray does come across, but I think the ball from Hickey's going out of play in any case. But we're past the halfway mark. I mean, I say that referee Simon Hooper did actually have his hand to his ear for a couple of seconds, but that must have just been for courtesy sake. That was never going to be a penalty. Everton 1, Brentford 0. 23 minutes gone. Independent, unofficial, off-tube studio commentary. It will be Will to take us through to half-time.
Thank you very much, Paul. And Idrissa Gueye brings it down, losing it to Ivan Toney. Cleared away by the right-hand side of Seamus Coleman. Now with David Raya bringing it back into the area so he can pick it up once more. And he will slow down proceedings and look for a teammate, either in the form of Ben Mee to his left, Ethan Pinnock to his right, and he will roll it out to the former. And here is the former Burnley man, Ben Mee, to find the run of Rico Henry. Here's Norgard going back towards Raya. Slow press from Abdoulaye Doucoure, who's the furthest player up the field for Everton. Hammered forward by Janelt. to find the run of Rico Henry, who then spreads it wide for Brian Mbeumo. Opportunity here for Brentford, and Mbeumo cuts in on his left, gets a shot away, it spurns off the hands of Pickford, who does well to recover and gather in the end. It was not a bad effort at all by Mbeumo. I think he's aware that it's a slippy service and therefore a slippy ball. He just wants to test the hands of John Pickford. It wasn't too convincing of goalkeeping, but Pickford did well to recover.
He did well to recover. I think it's always worth having those shots that bounce just in front of the goalkeeper. Pickford does sometimes make a bit of a ricky of dealing with those, and it was always worth a try. It's what Brentford need to do now. As I say, it's taken them a good 15-20 minutes just to have any kind of confidence to try and get forward, and even so, they're only doing it sort of half-heartedly, so they've got to try and take every opportunity that they can.
Tarkowski finding Seamus Coleman on the right, being held up by Mikkel Damsgaard. A good battle down that right-hand side, as good skill by Demari Gray to get a cross in towards the back post, flicked away by Aaron Hickey. McNeil tries to make himself a nuisance, and Mbeumo keeps the ball in play, finding Hickey once more. Now towards Janelt, who will play a 1-2 with Norgard. Clever play there by Brentford. Clearance is made down the line. Is that going to be kept in play by Mbeumo? That's a wonderful ball by Christian Norgard. Now Mbeumo will try and take on Tarkowski on this right-hand side. In towards the area for Hickey. Cuts back towards Mbeumo. Support in Norgard. Here is the number 6, back to Mbeumo on the right, being held up by Dwight McNeil. Inwards to Janelt, patient play. Norgard then whips a dangerous ball in towards Ivan Toney, who couldn't quite get a head onto it. He's appealing for a penalty, thought he was being held by Michael Keane. It's not going to go his way, though. It will be a goal kick. We'll have to see another replay. I thought there might have been a collision, but a good opportunity that for Ivan Toney.
It was a good opportunity, as I say, as this ball is played in from the right-hand side. He's almost sort of waiting for that ball to arrive, Tony. He would have liked to have probably been able to... the fact that he's sort of tussling with Michael Keane as well means that he doesn't quite have the clean sort of leap towards the ball that he would have liked. Ideally, he would have had a couple of yards just to try and go after. I mean, he turns around looking as if to suggest that maybe there was a bit of contact there from Keane, but there's never enough to think about a penalty, I don't think.
No, I would have to agree with that, as we see in our off-team studio pictures. Thomas Frank watching on, not exactly too pleased with what he's seeing, as Doucoure gives it back towards Coleman, who tries to play it down the line for the run of Demari Gray, intercepted by Rico Henry, who then hammers the ball long, looking for Ivan Toney. The bounce will skid off the surface, straight into the arms of Pickford, who then rolls it down and then tries to play an early ball, intending for Demari Gray, again picked up by Henry. Back now with David Raya, with a little bit of time and space, and he'll spin it short for Ethan Pinnock. And now Norgard has an opportunity to bring this forward once more. High press from Everton to force the issue for Brentford as they go further and further back. This time with David Raya on the edge of his 6-yard box. But no Everton player in any rush to put any press on. They're focusing on holding their shape, and well, they're frustrating Brentford at the moment, Everton.
They are. I mean, I think Brentford also are struggling just to have that little bit of variation in what they're doing, just to actually put pressure on Everton, as Brentford, oh goodness me, what a mess that is. Brentford are playing with the ball at the edge of their own penalty area, and it was played across towards Ben Mee. It's Ethan Pinnock actually going back towards his own teammate, and Ben Mee can't keep it in play, and it's out for a corner.
Yeah, it's a really, really cheap corner to give away. I mean, Ben Mee takes it down on the chest, and he's chested it back towards his own line.
I want to criticise Pinnock for playing a ball back to his teammate, but in fairness, Ben Mee controlled that ball 5 yards from the goal line. It's just that his poor control and the not being able to follow that ball means that he gives away the corner. But both players should be doing better there now. Everton with a great chance.
Yeah, really good opportunity here with Dwight McNeil taking this corner kick on the far right-hand side. It's an in-swinger with his left boot towards the back post, looking for Onana or Tarkowski. He's brought down. There's a bit of a collision. They can't hold on to it. It's going to be squirmed away. And in the end, Everton can't quite get a shot away on goal. But it's well won back by Ben Godfrey, who then surely been scythed down by Ivan Toney. That's going to be a free kick for Everton. Brilliant play by Ben Godfrey on that left-hand side. And an opportunity again for the ball to be put into the area.
It is, and as I say, this is just more problems for Brentford. They really are struggling to live with what Everton are doing right now, and it just shows you that the poor control from Ben Mee we saw a couple of moments ago, and now a lunge from Toney. That he's even though he's a forward, he should know it. He should be enough of a professional footballer there to know that there's no way he's going to win any kind of challenge there. He shouldn't even be sliding in.
No, it's a poor play by Ivan Toney. So an opportunity for the ball to be put into the area from this free kick from Dwight McNeil. 28 minutes gone in this game, listening to unofficial off-tube studio commentary. It's the number 7 of Everton, Dwight McNeil, to whip this into the area. Simon Hooper blows his whistle, goes towards the back post. Not a great delivery at all. Won't find any man in blue. It's going to be comfortably picked up by Ethan Pinnock on the far left-hand side. He takes no chances in hammering the ball away from danger. Brought down by Idrissa Gueye. Under pressure from Matthias Jensen, and Mbeumo will also press high up the field as it's Jordan Pickford that really pumps that long. Brought down by Iwobi. Pinnock's there to knock that back towards Rico Henry, who in turn will go towards David Raya. Raya looking to play it long once more. And it's seemingly constant long balls from Brentford at the moment. They're not looking to keep the ball on the deck and try and work an attack forward.
Well, they're not, and what it means is that when Brentford have got their moments of possession, Everton are ready for it because they can see what Brentford are going to try to do. And in the meantime, when Brentford do lose the ball, Everton are immediately trying to push forward themselves, and it's putting pressure on Brentford. Everton are basically pressing as high up the field as they can. Brentford prefer to play out from the back, but they feel under pressure, so they end up just clearing it long anyway, and that just plays into Everton's hands because they can win the ball back. So right now, Everton really have got the Brentford's number, and Thomas Frank and his coaching staff need to work out a way of trying to break that. Yes,
they do, and here's Norgard finding space on the left-hand side. Long ball over the top, trying to find the run of Rico Henry. He's done well to beat Seamus Coleman to the ball, looks for some support, gets it in the form of Mikkel Damsgaard, back to Rico Henry. Norgard behind him, utilises him. Here is Christian Norgard, about 40 yards out, spreading it wide, looking for Mbeumo. Good interception there by Dwight McNeil. Then Doucoure loses out to Aaron Hickey. Mbeumo towards Vitaly Janelt, lifts over the top for Henry once more. Henry, ball into the area, looking for the run of Janelt into the area. Well dealt with by Tarkowski. Then Gay goes down. Has he been fouled? No, says the referee. Here's Ivan Toney. He shapes up to go for goal. Does. Parried away by Pickford. And in the end, it's a mixture of Tarkowski and Coleman that get the ball away. Not a bad effort there by Toney, but it was straight at Jordan Pickford.
It was. Pickford should be doing well. Should be in a position there to be able to palm that away. And in fairness, Pickford's had a very, very quiet half so far. So he should be even more in a position to be able to deal with that. Brentford just starting to see a little bit of that possession in midfield, but still struggling really to have any kind of meaningful attack here so far.
Here's Mbeumo. Back now with Aaron Hickey. Moving it back further towards Ethan Pinnock. Finds support in the form of Norgard. Now Ben Mee spreads it for Jensen. Now with Mee once more. Pinnock moving it towards the right-hand side in Hickey. Held up by Dwight McNeil. Jensen. It's a poor pass there by Matthias Jensen. And now McNeil looks to come forward again. McNeil gets away from one. Held up by Ethan Pinnock. Only 30% possession so far for Everton in this game. As McNeil's cross is blocked by Pinnock. Another throw in for the Toffees. Yes, they're not having a lot of the ball at the moment, Everton, but they're being better with it.
They're using it better. I mean, I think in the last 10 minutes or so, Brentford's possession has shot up to around 70, even 70+%. But certainly from Everton's point of view, Sean Dyche may just be discussing that with Ian Wone right now, that his side aren't seeing enough of the ball really to put pressure on that Brentford defence. But because Brentford have started so badly, the few occasions when Everton are pushing forward, the Toffees are finding some joy here. Just as I say that, though, it's a team from the South Coast that are finding some joy because Brighton have just taken the lead away at Leeds United. It has only just happened in the last few moments, so we can't yet confirm the goal scorer. But as I say, with Everton winning, with Bournemouth unexpectedly winning against Liverpool today, this puts even more pressure on Leeds United now.
Yeah, it was Alexis McAllister that's just been confirmed as the goal scorer in that game.
He's had a superb season, and fair play to the Brighton backroom staff for giving him a 4-year contract just a couple of weeks before the World Cup as well.
Exactly, very, very clever from Brighton. A very well-run club, it must be said, the Seagulls. And as that currently stands, that moves Brighton above Fulham into 7th, with 2 games in hand over the vast majority of the top 5, and they're only a point behind 5th as well in Liverpool. So Brighton very much looking the more likely to enter those European spots, and it's been a wonderful season so far for Brighton.
It really has. And just as we were saying that, Everton were on the counter down the left-hand side. It was Mbeumo caught in possession inside the Everton half. And Amadou Onana then leaves the ball here for Idrissa Gueye. He just drops the shoulder, then plays this ball into Demari Gray. He took Pinnock on at the near post. Raya was there and was able to block that off. But Everton now have themselves a corner kick, and it is going to be Demari Gray to whip it in.
It will be Demari Gray with the delivery. It's not a bad one into the back post. It squirms down. It's fallen to somebody. The effort comes from the edge of the 6-yard box with the Iwobi, saved by David Raya, and somehow the ball squirms out wide for a goal kick. Amadou Onana appealing that he should have had a penalty because his shirt's half off from being hustled and harried by Hickey. It was Iwobi that had a bit of a snapshot getting away from, I believe, Norgard watching, and Raya had to make the save.
He did have to make the save. Is VAR going to have to make a decision here? Because I think it's Rico Henry who's trying to swap shirts with Onana long before full time there. I'm not quite sure what Rico Henry was trying to do, but in the end, the referee, well, he did say to Raya, don't take the goal kick just yet, because I want to check with VAR, but the check has been made. Raya's taken the goal kick, and Everton have possession back almost immediately.
Yes, they do. There's another goal telling about at the King Power, and it is Chelsea that has got their second goal of the game. João Felix has got it for Chelsea. And that could be a very big goal for them to help push them higher up the table.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's a big turnaround for Chelsea if they can get a second win or third win in a row. Of course, if we count the Champions League win in midweek. Spurs did have a penalty against Nottingham Forest, and when Spurs get penalties, they tend to convert them. Harry Kane with his second of the afternoon on 35 minutes. So Spurs now 2 up against Forest. Yeah,
plenty of goals coming around the grounds in this first half, as Mbeumo was unable to keep the ball in play for Brentford. There was also a collision between Keane and Ivan Toney, both players very much a hold of each other, and that's sort of been the theme of the game so far. I'll be surprised if not one player has to change their shirt at some point in the game, with the amount of pulling there seems to be, as Ivan Toney just having a few words with the referee. But it is a free kick for Everton all the same. I don't know who exactly is going to go over to take this. No one's standing over it. It will be Pickford that's going to come over to take this. I think Simon Hooper has just stopped his clock to allow this to be taken. He's going to be told to hurry up. Pickford might get a booking at some point if they continue to try and waste some time. Can confirm that the second goal for Chelsea has actually been called off for offside.
Yeah, so VAR getting involved there. Chelsea still only 1 up against Leicester City as Everton take this free kick long. It's into the Brentford penalty area, but headed away by Pinnock and then hooked away by Jensen, but he puts that up rather than forward, and Brentford still with work to do. This has been a really poor half from Brentford, but take nothing away. Everton have been organised and have actually, I think, in a large measure, have contributed to how difficult it has been for Brentford in this first 45.
It has been difficult, and Hickey will go back towards Christian Norgard. Around 10 minutes of the mandatory 45 to go before we have any added on time for stoppages, which we might have 1 or 2 minutes of, as Mee tries to go back towards Raya. Not a great ball. Raya does well to just about get the ball away from Demari Gray, who was pressing high up the field. Here's Rico Henry, held up by Alex Iwobi, down the line looking for support in the form of Damsgaard. It's Keane that's there to help put the ball out for a throw-in for Brentford. And the throw will find Damsgaard. Here's Henry outside the boot, trying to find Toney. Headed away again by Keane, brought down by Norgard. Iwobi's there to make the clearance. Falls to Coleman. Back to the Nigerian Alex Iwobi. Held up by Norgard, then loses out to Rico Henry. Now with Damsgaard, he loses possession as well. Very scrappy between these two sets of teams. But now an opportunity for Everton to break forward with Amadou Onana. McNeil to his left. Godfrey behind him. He utilises the latter. Godfrey tries to play it down the line. It's a poor pass, though, by the former Norwich defender, going straight out of play for a throw-in for Brentford.
Throw-in for Brentford as Onana there stopping that. We can see Thomas Frank just looking across. The weather's not too great at Goodison. Both managers with a fair amount of rain on their coats, but Thomas Frank will be... I think he'll be just wondering as well, looking at Brentford's bench this afternoon, in terms of perhaps changing things at half-time. They do have the Iranian international Sam Godos. They have Josh Da Silva, Shandon Baptiste, and Johan Vista. So there are options in midfield and attack just to try and perhaps just add a bit of variation from Everton's point of view. Strong bench for Sean Dyche this afternoon as well. Go through it very quickly. It's Holgate, Mikolenko, Garner, Mope, Sims, Davies, Mina, Cody, and Begovic. So it's more of a defensive bench for Everton, really. So even more important for them that they got that early goal, so they can make the changes later in the game to try and hold on to that lead.
Tarkovsky under pressure from Damsgaard, finding support in the form of Keane. Now Coleman will turn away from his marker, break forward, tries to play the pass in towards the feet of Demari Gray, but it's a misplaced ball, and now Brentford will look to come forward down the right-hand side with Brian Mbeumo, away from Godfrey. Looking for some support, plays the crossfield pass. It's a nice attempt, looking for Damsgaard, who gets away from Coleman. First time cross intending for Toney's, misplaced though by the Dane. It was a nice idea from the youngster, but couldn't quite get the required whip behind it.
Couldn't get the whip behind it, but as this ball is played over the top, it's miscontrolled there by Coleman. The idea was right, but again, Brentford have had so few moments getting forward that when they do finally get one, they've got to try and use them. Mikkel Damsgaard, I mean, a lot of Brentford fans have been saying he's not really been given a chance since he's arrived from Italian football, and you've got to say he started the game against Fulham and actually did very, very well in that game, which is why he's been given the start again today. But so far hasn't really been able to influence the game. Meanwhile, that second goal chalked off for Chelsea has had an impact at the King Power now, Will.
Yes, because Leicester are now on level terms. Patson Daka has made it one apiece there. In a game that Leicester really need to get something from, particularly as some of the teams below them, obviously Bournemouth have got 3 points earlier on in the day. Everton winning in this one. They'll be happy enough that Leeds are currently losing at home to Brighton, but if they were to lose that game, Leicester, they would be drawn to just 2 points above the relegation zone. It's all very, very tight towards that bottom 6, really.
It really is, as Everton now just having to do a little bit more work in defence. Pickford just marshalling his defenders there. A clearance down the right-hand side. Throw on here to Brentford to be taken by Matthias Jensen.
Now Jensen finding Mbeumo. Lifted over the top. Not a good ball at all. Easily cleared away by Dwight McNeil. Out for a throw-in for Brentford on this near right-hand side, which Matthias Jensen will look to take. Jensen doesn't have much in the way of movement. I think he's going to shape up to try and put a long ball into the area. So Jensen then fools everyone, including myself, goes short to Damsgaard. Now with Jensen again, twists, turn, tries to get across towards the byline, away from Idrissa Gueye. Ball towards the back post, brought down by Ben Mee. He kicks it out wide for Bryan Mbeumo. His delivery is poor and goes straight out for a goal kick, but it gives opportunity to mention of another goal in the Premier League.
It does indeed. We have an equaliser at Ellen Road, and it's Patrick Bamford. Leeds fans will be delighted to hear that. Bamford is their front man, their main goal threat, but he's had real problems with injury and with form over the last year or so, maybe even longer than that. But a massive goal that for Leeds United, equalising just a few minutes before half-time, and that will certainly help in getting that atmosphere at Ellen Road back to normal as well.
Yes, it will. It won't mean anything in the grand scheme of things from their position point of view for Leeds. They would remain in 19th as it currently stands, but they'd be level on points with West Ham, who play, of course, tomorrow at home to Aston Villa. If they can overturn that and get the 3 points, they'd move up to 25. It would move. It would actually move Bournemouth back down into the bottom 3.
It would, but I mean, I think, although that win for Bournemouth today is a bit of a surprise, I think most Leeds fans would understand that a draw against Brighton is still a good result. As McNeil tries one from 30 yards, Everton broke quickly, and Dwight McNeil had an effort which was charged down at the edge of the area. Brentford now looking to push forward here with Ivan Toney, runs straight into Tarkowski. Referee says, well, he actually looked as though the referee gave an advantage to Brentford, but then when the ball is played away from a Brentford man, then suddenly Simon Hooper decides that it's a free kick to Everton.
Yeah, a little bit odd officiating there from Simon Hooper. Seeing the replay, it was Toney and Tarkowski colliding.
I mean, in fairness, I do think if anyone's committed a foul, that it probably is more it is more Ivan Toney on Tarkowski. I think because Toney just doesn't have the ball in his own possession, then sort of shoulder barges Tarkowski. I would argue that potentially it's a 50-50, but if I had to say who committed a foul, then it probably was the Brentford man.
Yeah, I think that's just about the right decision, although the way he went about it, Simon Hooper, probably wasn't the best. But we've got a free kick here for Everton just inside their own centre circle, which Pickford will take, and he plays the lofted pass towards the back post. Header back across the face, it's dangerous, and it can't be cleared, and it's ended up in the back of the net via the shoulder of Demari Gray. Big goal for the Toffees, and it is the former Leicester man that has made it 2-0 to Everton.
Well, they scored inside the first minute of the first half, and now they're scoring 3 minutes before the end of the first half. A massive goal that for Everton, deserved in terms of how they've played in these first 45 minutes. Brentford had not been anywhere near at the level they need to be. Pickford with a long ball towards the edge of the area. It's a header which then plays across to Demari Gray after an attempted clearance there from Ethan Pinnock. I'm not sure what Brentford are doing for that first ball. The fact that Tarkowski has so much time to leap up and win that header and play it across goal, and then it's put into the back of the net by Demari Gray. But it's a big, big goal that for Everton, and they lead 2-0.
Well, one thing I do want to look at is what part of the body this actually hits of Demari Gray. His arms are by his chest, but if it hits his arms and goes in, I'm not sure if this will actually be overturned or not. We're yet to get any form of idea in regards to if it's going to be ruled out by VAR, it's being checked. It's being checked by VAR. Demari Gray's making a point that it's hit his chest. Looking at the replay.
Oh, is there a bit of an elbow there as well? Well, there might be. I mean, the replay we're getting is from sort of a side angle with the net in front of it as well, so it's not ideal. This angle we're getting now, I still can't be sure, but it has it. I mean, I suppose if it's hit the top of the arm, and then I suppose that's when the VAR official has to become more of a biology teacher as to whether it's the top of the arm or the bottom of the shoulder. Where does the arm start and the shoulder begin? It seems to be that depending on the official and on the day, it can be slightly different. But as we're looking at this replay, well, I wouldn't like to guess either way where this is going to go now.
No, I mean, my personal opinion is that considering it's so difficult to work out, this is not a clear and obvious error, and therefore shouldn't be overturned. However, the thought process of clear and obvious error is very rarely actually enforced with VAR.
It is. I mean, with the handball as well, I think the referee is going to look at this himself. Is he? No, he's not. He's taken the word of the VAR officials, and with just a couple of minutes to go before half-time, Everton's second goal has been chalked off.
Yes, and I think that is rather contentious to say the least, but Everton remain just the goal ahead. The goal has been chalked off. It will be a free kick for Brentford, a real let-off for the Bees as well, because to be honest, with the way they're performing in this first half, 2-0 probably would have been a relatively fair scoreline for Everton.
It would have been, and Sean Dyche probably already preparing his half-time 2-0 team talk, and all of a sudden it's only 1-0. Is that going to work as a bit of a shot in the arm for Brentford? Can they use that now in these last few minutes before the break? But in any case, I could certainly see your point. It's not one of those where he's blatantly handballed the ball into the net. He's tried to chest the ball into the net, and whether or not, as I say, whether it's hit the top of the bicep or the bottom of the shoulder, whatever's been decided there by the officials, it looks as though there was a handball that they couldn't quite get past, and that's why the goal's been disallowed. But we're going to get into injury time in the next 15 seconds or so. We'll see our fourth official just to confirm how much time there is. But certainly that's something that may frustrate Everton, and it may be controversial towards the end of the game as well.
Yeah, I'm sure Sean Dyche will still be happy with what he's seen from his side so far, but he would have loved that 2-goal cushion just to help ease the pressure on his side. 2 minutes of added time shown at the end of this first half. We played about 10 seconds of it as Demari Gray gets away from Norgard and tries to break forward. He's been brought down there by the Dane. That's surely going to be a free kick for Everton. It is, and it's also going to be the first yellow card of the game as well, shown to the Brentford captain.
Yeah, I mean, if you could have timeouts in football, Brentford would have had about 3 in this first half, because they need some new ideas. They need to be able to speak to their manager and trying to work out what's happening here, because right now it's just not working out at all for Brentford, and Everton still with this chance just before the break. It's a clumsy challenge from Norgard, and it's always going to be a yellow card.
Can confirm that the game at Elland Road between Leeds and Brighton is now at half-time. 1 apiece in that game. Still no other goals to leave out. Still 1 apiece between Leicester and Chelsea. 2-0 to Tottenham against Nottingham Forest, and 1-0 in our game. And, well, unbelievably, our game of all the 3-goal kickoffs has the least amount of goals in, which is rather surprising, to say the least. Free kick here, though, for Everton. And the effort comes from Demari Gray. It spoons off the head of a Brentford man, and that is going to be a corner kick for Everton, and this might be the final attack of this first half.
Yeah, well, so certainly Everton will be looking to try and get a good ball into the box here. Brentford haven't been anywhere near as good as they need to be from set pieces. Everton have had 4 corner kicks already in this first half, and Dwight McNeil, left footer from the right-hand side, is going to try and get as much whip on this as he can.
Yes, he will on that far right-hand side. Dwight McNeil with the delivery. Not a bad delivery, and the header comes in from Keane. It's a looping effort, though, easily gathered by David Raya.
Yeah, Raya with the save. As you say, it was the right direction from Keane, but he needs to get more power on it. Amadou Onana has now hit the deck. He's holding his, I think he's actually collided with his own teammate there. It's Onana and Tarkowski that are in trouble.
Yeah, it looks like a rather nasty one considering how the two players are reacting. It is a clash of heads. It's Tarkowski's back of his head, and it's the forehead of Onana that collide. It will be a sore one, to say the least. They'll need some treatment. The only sort of good news is that it has happened right on the cusp of half-time, so treatment will be readily available and for a lengthy period as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I personally think they could probably end the half there and then, really. I think, and let both these players just go off and get some treatment in the dressing room. We had about 10 seconds of the allotted 2 minutes still to play when we got this clash of heads. Gives us a chance to see the goal that was allowed for Everton. It was inside the first 35 seconds. McNeil with an effort which just flew past David Raya into the corner of the net. And since then, Everton have been the better side throughout the 45 minutes, much the better side, I would say. And Brentford needs to do something, really need to try and step up now to try and come back in the second half.
Yeah, looking at the reactions of the physios on the field, it looks like they're indicating both Onana and Tarkowski are all okay. Onana still down on the deck, though, receiving some final few checks. But Tarkowski is back onto his feet and getting back into position. It is half-time at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Tottenham 2, Nottingham Forest 0. The confirmed half-time scoreline there. Our game and the one at the King Power, the two still going on. We've played almost 2 minutes, really, more than the allotted 2 minutes of added time. Onana shakes his head, but he's being helped back onto his feet. He'll receive a final bit of treatment. I think it's his eye more than anything that's caused the issue, so I'm not sure if his vision is a little bit worse away, and if that is the case, Onana might not be able to continue, but it does look like he's in a real spot of bother at the moment, the Belgian.
He does, yeah, and that'll be one of those that they need to check over. Of course, in the last few days, there have been an announcement from FIFA that they won't be introducing the temporary concussion substitutions. And in that same statement, they also said that they're doing it for the good of the players, which is just a complete parody of a comment. But that's the way FIFA like to do things. And we're back underway here now. Referees having had a few more seconds to the 2 minutes we should have had. And Everton, overall, it's been a job well done for them in these first 45 minutes.
As Raya is pressurised by McNeil, but goes back into his area to collect. Surely this might be the last few moments of this first half. In fact, we're not going to have any more. We're going to go into the interval. Everton 1, Brentford 0, and we'll see you in the second half.